lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking you through the books I bought in February, as I did quite a lot of spending, which I shouldn't be doing as a student. So I'm just going to go through all the books that I've hauled this month. The first two books that I bought are actually blind dates of a book from the Literature Society. They were wrapped up in brown paper and had descriptions on them, but you didn't actually know what the books were going to be, hence blind date. I've since thrown away the wrapping since Valentine's Day has already passed and I've opened both of them, but I do have the descriptions that are written on them here, and I'm going to read them to you before I show you the books at the end to see if you can guess what they are. The first one was in the thrillers section, and it had written on it recent Netflix adaptation, haunted house, psychological and classic horror. This book I guessed, and it was actually quite easy to guess, but the second book I bought from the fantasy section was not, and I had no idea what it was until I actually opened it. It had written on the front, French children's literature, magic, fictional world, most translated book ever published. And it's the most translated book ever published, which is the reason I actually bought it. So see if you can guess these before I show you them at the end. Now the other books are all ones that I bought in two different trips to Waterstones, York. The first two on the first trip that I bought were these two. The first one being The Cutout Girl by Bart and Van Ness. The reason I bought this because it was on a table at the bottom of the stairs, and I saw it and knew that my whole family is going to want to read it because we're all very interested in war history. So my justification for buying this book is that I'm really buying it for Mum and Dad to read as well. It is about little Leanne, who wasn't taken from a Jewish family in Hay, but in fact given away in the hope that she might be saved. Hidden and raised by a foster family in the province during the Nazi occupation, she survived the war only to find out her real parents had not. Much later, she fell out with a foster family, and Bart Van Ness, the grandson of Leanne's foster parents, needed to know why. So this is an account of him piecing together her history. I think that's going to be a very interesting approach, and so do other people as well, if it's the Costa Book of the Year 2019. The second book that I bought in that trip, because I was already looking at books, and I thought if I picked up one, I might as well look around the others. And that is Secrets of Vault 13 by David Solomons. This is a Doctor Who book, and if you know me at all, you know that I am obsessed with Doctor Who, like properly obsessed with it. And I absolutely love the Doctor Who books because they tend to be a lot darker and deeper than the episodes because they have more time to expand the stories out. This one is going to be more childish though because it's intentionally in the children's section rather than the sci-fi section like the other ones are. I do have the other 13th Doctor novels because I got them for Christmas, but I didn't have this one because it's a slightly different type of book. It is about the Doctor who has been summoned. The galaxy is in terrible danger and only a Time Lord can save it, but to do so she must break into the ancient vault on a remote and frozen world from which nobody has ever returned alive. So I know that I'm going to love this book because it already has characters that I adore from watching the show. So Jodie Whittaker in book form. What more can you want? The next 5 books, and yes, I did buy 5 books in one day, were all bought on a day when I promised myself that I was going to go to the Waterstones library to get some of my university reading, and that was it. I was just going to go upstairs to the cafe, do my reading, have a cup of tea, and go back down and go out. Did that happen? No, it didn't, because I ended up in the science fiction section, and lo and behold, another Doctor Who book. This one is The Scratchman by Tom Baker, and this is again different from the usual Doctor Who books I got because it's intentionally an adult horror one. It's written by Tom Baker, who was in fact the 4th Doctor, so I'm very intrigued to read a story about the Doctor, written by the Doctor. And it is about the Doctor, Harry and Sarah Jane Smith. Sarah Jane Smith is not my generation of Doctor Who companions, but I love her nonetheless. Arrive in a quiet Scottish village, but their holiday is cut short by the appearance of strange creatures, living scarecrows who terrify the local population. The scarecrows are the work of a sinister Scratchman, a cosmic force that enslaves planets and turns them into nightmare worlds. And he has set a series of traps for the Doctor to get inside the Time Lord's head. So I'm really excited to read a Doctor Who book that is going to be intentionally scary. And also, I don't usually buy hardback covers, but because this is a special one, I thought it would be nice to have it as hardback. And then because I was lingering around the science fiction books, it led me to the YA books, which is always a dangerous place to be because if I'm in the YA section, I'm going to buy something, no matter what, because YA is my current love of reading. And the first book I got was Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. Now this is a book that I haven't actually seen anywhere before. Usually I go into bookstores with books in my head that I've seen on Instagram or Tumblr or the BookTube community, which you'll find out in a minute. and then know things about them, but this I didn't. I just saw the cover and thought it looked fantastic and intriguing. And then when I read the blurb, it actually drew me into it so much more. So the blurb says, trained at Miss Preston's School of Combat for Negro Girls in both weaponry and etiquette, Jane McKean is poised for a successful career protecting the wealthy from the encroaching plague of Walking Dead. But when families begin to go missing, Jane uncovers a conspiracy that pits her against some powerful enemies. Sent far from home, Jane will need all of resourcefulness, wit and strength and character to survive. So already reading the blurb, I can tell that there are so many different tropes and characteristics of different genres like put into one book, which I'm really excited for. So this really drew my attention, and I think the concept is such a brilliant idea, and I really can't wait to read it. And then because I was in the YA section, my head went to Emma books. And because my head was in Emma books, I ended up picking up The Poet X, which I'd recently seen in an Emma Books video and she had recommended. It is by Elizabeth Acevedo, and it's actually all written in poetry form. Like, the narrative is told through poetry, which is such an interesting concept to me. Poetry is something that I absolutely love doing in university, but I just don't pick it up for myself a lot of the time. So this book might actually change my way of reading. It is about Simara. I think I'll put the name up here because it's a hard one to say, who has always kept her words to herself. In her Harlem neighbourhood, her fists and her fierceness do the talking, but X has secrets. Oh, I really like the shortening of the name to X, that's so good. Her feelings for a boy in her bio class, a notebook full of poems that she keeps under her bed, and a slam poetry club that will pull those secrets into the spotlight. Because in spite of a world that might not want to hear X, she refuses to stay silent. This, again, I think the concept is so good, and the way it's written in poetry form, I think it's going to be such a brilliant idea if it's pulled off well, and Emma Books says it is, so I trust that. And then because my head was with Emma Books, another Emma Books recommendation. I'm not sure which videos these recommendations have come from because I have been binge watching Emma Books lately, but this, again, another concept that I love so well. It's Scythe by Neil Shusterman, and it is about a perfect world where the only way to die is be gleaned by professional scythe. This is because humanity has evolved so much that things like disease don't kill people. It's only death of old age or be gleaned by scythe, so this is a way of population control. When Citra and Rowan are chosen to be apprentice scythes, they know they have no option but to learn the art of killing. However, the terrifying responsibility of choosing their victims is just the start. Corruption is the order of the day, and Citra and Rowan need to stick together to fight it. Then they are told that one of them will have to glean the other. Again, it's such a good concept. I love anything with world building, which is why I usually go for high fantasy over most other things. Things like Throne of Glass, where the world has multiple books to build it up and have lore behind it. I'm pretty sure there's a sequel book to this, but again, the concept is so clever. It's something I'd never thought of, but once somebody tells you it, you think, yes, that's absolutely genius. So I'm also so intrigued to how the lore of this world is going to come about, because I love, like I was just saying, I absolutely love anything that has details and rules, and you have to stick to the rules. It just makes it so much more real and makes you so much more involved in it when it's not just, this is magic, and magic works any old way. So I'm excited to read this book, and I want to get back into a good old sci-fi type thing. So those were the 4 books I'd picked up and taken to the desk, which is 4 more than I was planning to buy, and then the lady was like, you have a buy one get one half price sticker on one of those books, you sure you don't want to buy another one? I had to pick up another one. It is A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison, and this is a book that I have been seeing on the Waterstones email, hence why it was on the desk. I just had to pick it up because I love magic, and I've been seeing things about it all over the place, so I already know that it's gonna be good because Waterstones tells me it's good, and I trust Waterstones with all my heart. It is about 3 sisters who are trapped by an ancient curse. 3 magical objects with the power to change their fate. Will they be enough to break the curse, or will they lead the sisters even deeper into danger? So, pure magic. Absolutely love magic. And again, there is lore behind it with these 3 objects and 3 curses and 3 sisters. Also, it's just such a beautiful book, and because I was getting it half price, I just could not, even though I'd already spent way too much money. And I love anything with maps. If a book's got maps, you know the world building is going to be going somewhere. And again, just love world building. So I ended up picking that up, and that's how I bought 5 books in one day. Now, as promised, I'll show you my blind dates as a book. If you remember, the first one was recent Netflix adaptation, Haunted House, Psychological Classic Horror, and it is, of course, The Haunting on Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This is the title I keep mixing up and keep saying things like The House on Hill Haunting or The Haunting on House Hill. It's a very tongue-twistery book. This is a film or series, Netflix series, that I've been seeing everywhere but I haven't got around to watching, so now I've got the opportunity to read the book first, which I do quite like doing. It is about a house where something is at work in Hill House. When a group of troubled people come to stay there, they begin to experience things they cannot understand or explain, and are forced to confront their darkest fears. The house is gathering its powers, and soon it will choose to make one of them its own. This sounds really interesting. As you saw in my February reads thing, I've been trying to get into horror more recently, and I think a classic haunted house might be the way to go. The one thing I'm annoyed about is this Netflix sticker. It's just such an eyesore. I do have the Netflix cover version of To All the Boys I Loved Before, but it blends in with the cover and works so well, whereas this, it's such an eyesore. But I am still excited to get around to it. Now, the next book was a children's book, and it was French children's literature. Magic, fictional world, most translated book ever published. And this is the only book in this haul that I've actually read at the moment of filming this video, and it is The Little Prince by a name I can't pronounce, so I'm going to put it up here in letters instead. And this is a book that I would never have picked up, as I was saying in my February reads video, if it's in a bookstore, but I'm so glad I did. The Little Prince is a classic tale of equal appeal to children and adults. On one level, it's a story of an airman's discovery in the desert of a small boy from another planet, the Little Prince of the title, and it's stories of intergalactic travel, while on the other hand it is a thought-provoking allegory of human condition. First published in 1743, the year before the author's death in action, the new translation contains his delightful illustrations. This book was so good, but you've already seen it in a video, so I'm going to say no more about it. So those are the 9 books that I bought in February, which is a lot more than I usually buy, I have to say, even for my book addiction. But I'm so glad I've got all of them, and I can't wait to start reading some of them. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.